Real women.
Real talk.
Real messy.
This is Messy Midlife. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Messy Midlife. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
This time of year, we are looking at all the New Year's stuff. And I like if we could talk about that. What do you guys think?
I love
Yeah.
that idea.
Do you guys do resolutions?
Nope.
Nope.
Have you ever?
Yes.
Probably when I was like a child and maybe in my teens and early 20s.
Karen, when did you give them up?
Probably when I became a mom, right around that time. The manifesting world can really have a lot of overlap with New Year's resolutions and having clarity about your year. And I've always been a birthday New
Me
Year
too.
person.
Me too.
So that just took over for me, which makes more sense, right? Because that's your next year of life.
Yeah. Our birthdays are middle of the year. Mine is the closest to the middle of the year of any of ours. And so for me, it was always I could do a new year and my new year that sort of also was a halfway point for things to sort of break it up. I'm trying to think when I gave up resolutions. I for sure was a resolution person. And as they do for everybody, they're not useful. And if anything, detrimental because it's just a new thing to beat yourself up about when you fail because past you made a decision about future you, and future you is always so much more virtuous and perfect and has more energy and has their shit together in a way that current you doesn't. And so we put all these expectations on future you that current you cannot ever possibly accomplish. And yet we think that somehow we're going to. So it's just, a really good way to set ourselves up for failure. I for sure have not done any since I've been a mother, but I think it was long before then that I shifted from a specific resolution to more of a theme of something to focus on, like a word or just something that to help me remember. And many of the words have been the exact same for year over year over year recently because, 1 year is not enough to get to a place of acceptance.
Yeah. I think that's interesting that you said acceptance because as somebody who was deep in an eating disorder for 3/4 of my life, um, that's what the resolution was always about.
Yes.
For me, it was always about weight and losing weight. And it caused a lot more damage than anything. It was never something that was helpful. It wasn't like I wasn't doing that every day, every week, every month, every year of my life without saying it was my resolution on January 1st. That's where a lot of the resolution conversation and hype goes around, right? It's I would bet 90% of people that do it, it's something about changing their physical appearance or their body. And so for me, it was like one of the first healthy steps I took to not do that. I was still tracking my weight every day for years in a notebook. I always put pressure on myself, but that took one piece of the pressure off of it.
Mhm.
Right. I think about it a lot differently now. I will say that one of the first times this has come up for me is going into 2026 because it's the year of the horse and that's my birth year. And so usually I wouldn't think, and obviously Chinese New Year isn't until February, but I would actually not have thought about anything pertaining to a resolution or New Year or anything like that because my birthday is my kind of reset evaluation. What am I wanting for this next chapter? But for some reason, having it be that again is, I don't know, speaking to me in some way. And
Mhm.
not that I'm going to make a resolution because of it, but I just think about what opportunity could be there this year that I don't even see. So
Mhm.
more just opening myself up to new experiences, new ways of looking at things, being open to new opportunity, being open to new ways of being.
Mhm.
That's what excites me about this coming year. And plus,
For me,
astrologically, there's all of this Leo stuff in 2026 also.
this year I'm finding perhaps it's just timing. I'm not trying to set a resolution for anything. My resolutions started with you're not good enough because it's always new year, new you. You're not good enough. So it's always starting from this place of self-hatred that doesn't help anybody. I did let go of that a long time ago. And I would still have a couple like things that I would put in. And every year I would always do like the book challenge. So Goodreads every year, reading challenge. No, I always joined it and I would always meet it and surpass it, but it would get to this place of compulsion almost toward the end of the year where I wasn't necessarily feeling like I was enjoying what I was reading. I was looking for something that I could make sure I had met that goal. And so this year in 2025, I set my goal at 1. And that was the most genius thing I ever did because every single time I was for sure going to read many more than one book. And so every time I would log into Goodreads, and that's where I track, because I read so many books, I will sometimes forget that I've read the book and then get grumpy when I realize I've read it if I'm halfway through. And I've already read this and now I'm grumpy because I just am rereading it. I didn't want to reread it because I want to reread it if I like it enough, not because I forgot that I read it because it was not memorable until halfway through. I will log into my reading challenge, and every year I get to see now if I do this moving forward, every year I get to see you're smashing it. You're at, you know, 27,000% of your goal. So I'm trying to find more things that I can do like that, where I can just feel good about myself with this thing that I'm doing. And I still want to be able to see that I'm doing a good thing and that making progress, or see how many books I've read in a year, or see how many socks I've knitted or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just need to stop tracking everything. I've recently stopped tracking my walks on my watch. 'Cause what's the point of this? What does this do for anything? Maybe that's a goal, is to stop tracking. This year, a place that I'm challenged is that I have a surgery coming up in March. I'm feeling some pressure that because this surgery is going to have me knocked out for probably 1 to 2 months from my normal activities. I will not be able to swim for 2 months because of the surgery. Regardless of how my healing is going, you are not allowed to swim for 2 months. And swimming is a big part of what I do. And Pilates, after an abdominal surgery, you can't do Pilates for a while. And so there's part of me that feels like I need to get as far ahead as I can to compensate for the loss that I've got coming because of a surgery that's going to happen. And it's just happening to coincide at the time of New Year's, because I also have all of the stuff that I'm doing for my daughter and for my family to prepare for Christmas that is making me say, well, I have to cancel Pilates today. I'm probably going to have to cancel it tomorrow because I just can't fit in all of the things that I have to do for work and for the holidays. And this year, my husband is gone for 2 weeks before Christmas for a volunteer disaster recovery trip. And so a lot of the prep is on me. And so a lot of things are falling off, and I'm saying future Jen is going to take care of it. I find myself having some overlap that's not really a resolution, but feels kind of resolution-y, and I'm having a little bit of feelings about it.
I think that part of what can feel uncomfortable about it all is the typical New Year's resolutions are also things that are really not within our controls and also really unrealistic. Already having so much to do, especially you, Jen, this year, having so much to do that's falling on you. It's like an added layer of stress. I don't see a benefit or a positive to it. I think that if it was something that was really important to us or to anyone, it would be something that would be a part of your life. So the date changing and the number changing at the end of the year, how does that really impact anything?
It's so arbitrary that we have to add an extra day every 4 years to compensate for the arbitrariness, to be aligned with the way that the planets move in orbit around the sun.
I was actually talking to your doctor about that last night or yesterday in the car. We were talking about when Hanukkah
Mhm.
comes. And I said, well, it changes every year. It's different. It's not always on a set date because it's not going on the same calendar. I don't think she totally grasped it, but it was an interesting conversation to have with a 5-year-old.
Right. I'm trying to remember what year it is in Saudi Arabia right now, but it's in the 14 or 1500s in
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia right now. It's so arbitrary. And I've even the way people conceptualize the calendar and the passage of time is so different. I've learned that some people see things as completely just linear and moving on. Some people see them as like a spring, like an upward going spiral, which makes way more sense to me. That's the passage of time because of the ways that we have the seasons change and everything, and the way that things tend to be cyclical, but different. So we're not coming back to the exact same thing, but we're coming back to a similar thing with a different viewpoint. It's all just so irrelevant, and we put so much pressure on ourselves for certain things that Why?
What came to mind for me when you were sharing that about your upcoming surgery and feeling like you need to do all the things before you're out of commission for that period of time is how it resonated, and I don't know if this is your experience, but what came up for me is how before a vacation, I will work exponentially more prior to taking off that period of time to the point where, and I think we actually talked about this in one of our episodes, I now have to take extra time off before I take my time off because I have to recover from all of the producing that I feel I have to do. I don't know if that's necessarily the case for you.
It used to be. So when I first opened my practice, I didn't see patients on Mondays. Monday was my admin day. I saw patients Tuesday through Friday. And when I was going to take a vacation, I would add Mondays in for however many weeks I needed to before that. And that's such BS. That is not healthy. That's like we take vacation to have a break and to decompress and to reset. So why load up more so you don't even get to do that decompression and reset,
Well, I
right?
mean I mean, I've done that too, and part of it is, like, the actual financial logistics, because if when you work for yourself or depending on how you're compensated, if you're not working, you're not making money, and so you have to make up for the time that you're gone.
Right, it's so unfortunate that that's a necessity.
Mhm. And it's just part of how it is,
Yeah.
that if we are being compensated fairly for what we're doing and not having somebody who's making enough from us that they're compensating us less than we deserve so that they can pay us for time that we're not working, then because that's where it comes from, right? If you have paid time off, it means that people they're having to make up that money someplace. And anyway, it's a whole different topic
I mean,
aside
I've
from
I've gone
the New
through
Year stuff.
I've gone through that same rationale. There's something underneath that. There's something about production and worth and something icky like that underneath.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are numbers that have to balance out and bills that have to get paid, and all of that is reasonable. And therefore, it's really easy to lean into that. But I do think that there's something deeper underneath. And it's very different, obviously, what you're describing about the surgery and being laid out for that amount of time and the potential effects on mood because of lack of movement. At least those are some of the things that come to my mind. So it's very different, but it did come to mind as you were describing that.
I think that there will probably be some aspect of that when it comes to my work and the things that I need to do for my work. This feels more of an understanding that I will have muscle loss and I will have that type of thing, that if I can build up as much as I possibly can, then yes, I will lose the same amount, but I will land in a better place than if I don't build up ahead of time for my reserve. So it's more about that, with as far as the movement aspect of things, and just making sure that I'm as strong and as healthy as possible going into a surgery that is going to have a bigger recovery than either of my last 2 surgeries. That my first one was a week, the second one was 2 weeks. I'm expecting that this one will be probably more than 2 weeks. Tying back to the overall desire or drive for resolutions, that does seem to drop off in midlife, but I don't know if it fully drops off. Even if it's not, I will do this in this year, is it still always present that we are associating something with who or how we are that's not good enough, that is tied to production or productivity, that might not be actually connected to ourselves?
The compulsion aspect of it as well.
It
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense with what you're saying, Jen, about obviously preparing for a surgery. I mean, I was thinking about that earlier this morning, why I wouldn't want to do a knee surgery right away because when I already have limited mobility and limited strength, going into a surgery where I am now feels horrible. That scares me. So I totally understand that from that perspective. I think what resonated with me, Karen, when you were saying what's driving it, I think in a lot of ways, whether it's working harder before you take a vacation or it's making a resolution that you feel like you have to fulfill, for me, it comes back to I have to earn this. I'm not capable of just taking this. I have to work harder and earn it. Yes, we know there is the financial perspective, but there is something deeper about I have to prove that I am worthy of taking this time off. I have to earn the ability to take that time off. I think it's an authentic change. It doesn't feel like with resolutions that this is really something that's so important to me. I feel like I have to do this for some reason to prove that I can, or that I'm valuable, or that I can produce this. It's not like a deep in your heart, this is a shift that I really need. Those of us that have done a lot of personal growth work and still do it, we know that those changes come up when they're supposed to and when they need to. We know that as they come up in our lives, it doesn't matter what day of the year it is, we're
Yeah, it's a random
considering
Wednesday.
when we're facing them. It feels really performative
Mhm.
to have a New
Mm.
Year's resolution to me because
I'm
it's not
honestly
really for me who I am.
yeah. I honestly don't know anybody anymore who does them.
I don't either.
And I'm wondering if it is falling off in the world in general or if it falls off in midlife.
Yeah, I wonder we don't hear about them at all. I haven't had that conversation in years, and I wonder if that's just because it's less prevalent in the world or it's less prevalent in our
My
age group.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
Performative, it just hits the nail on the head. And during a time when we are seasonally supposed to be more of a hibernation stage, which that I think that was the
At
last
least in
straw.
the northern hemisphere. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, good point. Um, that's, I think, the last straw that broke my resolution back was that I don't have the energy to do this right now. And my birthday's in May, and I always feel so much more energy come up for me around my birthday. So it just felt like such a nice, easy transition to shift to that. But performative is, man, that's so good. That got me deep.
I mean, I guess our New Year's resolution is that we don't have any New Year's resolution. We never will.
I feel like it has to be that there are some people that still, whether they call it a resolution or not, or if it's just the timing of coming off of the holidays where everything gets really disrupted and people are trying to get back. But guys, Pilates is so hard to get into if you are not already booked out before the New Year's. Right now, I will go to Pilates classes and they're half full. There's so many more people at the gym in January. It's annoying. It's like we almost want to not go to the gym in January
Mhm,
because of the
mhm.
resolutioners. And so it must still be happening to a degree, even if it's not like an official thing. There must be still be something in our brains that make us feel. For instance, I don't necessarily have a resolution, but this time of year, I feel kind of compulsive about I don't want the clutter from this year to go into next year, even though it's a spiral and it's an ever going, always connected, constant thing. But I feel more compelled this time of year to do that type of thing than I do at other times of year. I don't know. So there might be some habitual things still there, even if we don't call it that.
Yeah.
Non-resolution resolution situation. A lot of people will focus on words or themes. Even some of that I'm just letting go. It's been helpful in some cases, but it still feels almost performative at this point because yes, the things that I need to know or the things that I need to do or shift come to me on a random Wednesday, not because of time of year. And that's where we'll have to talk sometime about all the stuff with the manifesting world and astrology where I'm like, come on, is it really
We
8 Lions Gate? Come on. It's not it's not 8 everywhere. So if you're gonna say it's 11 whatever, it's not 11 everywhere. It's not 11 in Saudi Arabia. It's not 8 in Saudi Arabia.
don't talk smack about 88 Lionsgate, girl.
I know that you love 8 Lions Gate. I know. But
You
like and
chose me for a reason, both of you.
I mean, I'm down with that. We'll
Karen and
get
I
you.
will start the woo
One of these
conversation.
days, one of these days. I did want to add that in the spirit of New Year's, I've been seeing so much of the year of the snake, right? That was this year that's coming to an
yeah.
end in the Chinese
Mhm.
New Year in February, and how it's all about shedding everything that doesn't serve us. And I just had the thought the other day that perimenopause feels like the decade of the snake.
I
Aw.
love that.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just a continual shedding of these things that aren't serving us. And Your body lets you know, like I was sharing just before we started recording, that when it's time to do that thing, when it's time to make that change, there's no stopping it. And I use the analogy that it's like having a stomach bug where you feel like you can't possibly purge again, and it happens. I think having a little bit of faith in the change will come when it's meant to come, and to trust that you're going to know that there's no way around it. You'll know.
Can I tell you guys something funny about manifesting? So one of my really good friends is visiting from Bend, and me and my daughter were talking, and she's telling me this. She said, "Yeah," she was saying how you're getting her an e-bike, for high school next year, and she can ride to school. And my friend said, "Wow, I mean, that is some powerful manifesting she's doing at 13." I said, "She's not manifesting. She's delusional." There is a difference, right? This isn't manifesting. She's just telling herself what she wants to hear, totally delulu. So,
Who knows?
not getting a
Who
bike.
knows? If it ends up happening for her in some magical way.
I mean, Karen, you will watch her try to ride a non-electric bike when you are here and ride into the car, or drive in a car that's parked on the street. And then you'll be like, no, she's never getting an e-bike.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Valid.
Well, let's wrap with what we understand, that one, you don't need to make any changes because you are good enough as you are. So whatever lie is telling you that you need to make a change, it's a lie, and just punch that lie in the nose. Tell it to F off. You are beautiful. Nothing needs to change until your body or your mind says it needs to change. And then it's authentic for you because it serves you, not because you're not good enough. Change is not necessary until it is. And when it is, it feels different than when it feels compulsory or coming from a place of lack or self-hatred or performative for other people. May you have a wonderful new year, all of you. And may you love yourself as much as I love you, and see yourselves as I see you. That's my hope for you and for everybody, that everybody gets to see themselves as I see them.
Yeah.
You're all pretty awesome.
Agreed.
Shine sparkles everywhere. All right. Love you guys.
Good New Year, everyone. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
If our messy is your kind of messy, we'd love for you to rate, review, and follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
We'd also love to know what's on your mind. If you were to join us, what would we be talking about? Email us at messymidlifepodcast@gmail.com or message us on Instagram or TikTok.